Listen to this question. I don't understand how this could be a question you could actually ask a groom. The man would get engaged, and the Gemara says, B'marava in Israel, here's the question they would ask him. Is your fiancé a matzah or a motza? What does that mean? Matzah refers to the pasuk, Matzah isha matzah tov. You found a wife, you found goodness. Okay, that's a reasonable option. He just got engaged. Or is she a motza? What does motza mean? Motzani, I find mar mimavet et haisha. I find a wife to be worse than death. You're asking this guy, he just got engaged. Give him 6 months. You're asking him right now, is she matzah isha matzah tov, or is she worse than death? Why do you think he got engaged to her? Obviously he thinks she's good. So I'm going to explain to you this Gemara based on the Gaon of Vilna, and this explanation will put a lot into perspective very quickly. There's an expression we use. You've heard it. You've used it probably. Someone's like a kid in a candy store. When you say someone's like a kid in a candy store, it's supposed to mean the person is so happy, they're like a kid in a candy store. Whoever made up this expression obviously never took a kid to a candy store. Because there's no place that a kid is more miserable than in a candy store. Because you take him to the store and you tell him one candy. And now he doesn't know what to do. He takes the chocolate, then he takes the lolly, the bigger lolly, the one that lights up. He takes potato chips. He doesn't know what to do with himself. In that store, he's miserable. The only way to make him happy is put a candy in his hand and take him out of the store. But as long as he's in the store, it's not fun at all. Here's what the Gemara is saying. We're not asking this boy about the fiancé, the girl he just got engaged to. We're asking him about him. Here's our question to you, young man. What's your mindset? Is your mindset matzah or motza? Here's what it means. Matzah, if you look at the diktuk, matzah means I found. Found means in past tense, my search is over. Then you're happy. Motza means I am finding. In present tense, finding means I'm still searching. Here's what we're telling him, young man, if you're still motza, if you're still searching and you're still comparing, you will be miserable. Because tomorrow you're going to see someone else and they're, oh, she's prettier, she's taller, she's shorter, she's a better cook, she's better with the kids. You're going to see someone else that laughs more. You're going to see someone else that gets along with her mother-in-law. You're going to see someone else that knows how to have fun. You're going to see someone else with a good personality. You're going to keep seeing things to compare to. You're going to keep seeing other candies, and you're going to be miserable. But if the search is over, if it's matzah, you found her, and you're done, then it'll be matzah isha matzah tov. But if you're still in the candy store, mar mimavet, it's going to be more miserable than death. Here's the frustration in our marriages today. There's too much comparison. Because of this wonderful device that Mr. Steve Jobs created a number of years ago. And the social media that's embedded in it. Because right here tonight, as you're in an incredible weekend, you might have turned on your phone and checked Instagram and saw a couple that was in Mexico over the weekend. And you're like, this was good. But it's cold outside. And you're constantly in the candy store. Constantly comparing. And constantly miserable. So what's our advice? Well, the first piece of advice, but this is not my point, is probably delete Instagram. There's not much good that happens unless you're selling something on that thing. Nothing else about it. It's pretty much, the title of it should be Jealousy Website or Jealousy Media. Not social media. It doesn't enhance your social. It frustrates your social. But those are not my two pieces of advice. I have two thoughts in how to energize your marriage quickly. Here's the first. The first is another Gemara. This Gemara is very famous. The Gemara says that a man and a wife, a husband and wife, that merit, the Shekhinah is between them. Hashem rests amongst them. How do you see the Shekhinah between them? Because in the word Ish there's a Yud, and in the word Isha there's a Hey. Yud and Hey together is the name of Hashem. So if you merit as a husband and wife, then Hashem rests in your marriage. You have an elevated experience because God is in your home. But if you do not merit, if you're not zocheh, if you're not doing the right thing in your home, then the Yud and the Hey leave. Ish without a Yud spells Esh. Isha without a Hey spells Esh. Fire. That a home that doesn't have the Yud in the man and the Hey in the woman is fire in that house and destruction. I just quoted the Gemara, but here's my point. The Chafetz Chaim has an incredible observation. He says, look at what brings the Shekhinah. What brings the presence of God in your house? The letter that's different in the man and the woman. The Yud in the man and the Hey in the woman. What brings destruction? The letters that are the same. Aleph and Shin in the man, Aleph and Shin in the woman. And here's the point. When you got married, you suddenly realized, maybe it took a week, maybe it took 3 years. You suddenly realized your spouse is very different than you. You like dairy. Your spouse likes meat. You like it cold. Your spouse likes the room hot. Your spouse stays up late. You wake up early. You're energetic. You like to go out. Your spouse wants to sit on the couch. And you realize that you're different. And that scared you. The point of this Gemara is the opposite. Is that what it makes you the same is not what generates beauty. What makes you the same is no big deal. But what makes you different, the differences between the man and the woman, that's what brings godliness. So if you find in your home that you're patient and your spouse is not, that you like to laugh and your spouse is serious, and you're like, wow, we're so different. And you're like, I don't know, this is a problem. No, this is your opportunity. Because energy and positivity and beauty comes from the difference, not from when you're the same. So don't get scared by the fact that you're different. Don't get nervous by the fact that you're different. Embrace it as an opportunity to bring an energy and a beauty and a holiness into your home that you couldn't do otherwise. The fire is when you're exactly the same. There's nothing wonderful about a couple. You and him, you're the same person. Why'd you get married? You're the same person. But when you're different, that's what creates incredible things. That's what creates a beautiful dynamic for children to live in. You want the theme of the weekend is elevate. You want to elevate your home. Find the things that make you different and be excited about it. And say, how does this work together? Fantastic. I stay up late, so I'll watch the kids late, but I wake up late, so she'll watch the kids in the morning while I'm fast asleep. I like to go out, but I go out too much. But she likes to stay home. She keeps me grounded. The combination is great. There's so many things that if you know how to look at it right, you say, wow, we can bring greatness. So when you get married and you're looking around and you say, wow, that person looks like that. No, don't get scared. My wife is different than me, and that's why it's incredible together. And here's the second thought. I want to tell you the one thing your spouse wants. Now, if I were to ask, what causes friction in a marriage? What would you say? I don't mind taking an answer or two. What do you say is the number one reason why there's friction in a marriage? What's your answer?
I might be wrong, but children?
Children, okay. I guess you guys aren't Syrian, because by us, it would be money. Ego. What do you got? What? Communication. Okay, good. Good. So I'm going to put it and simplify it. Everything you said is right, but I want to make it simple. I don't know if this has ever happened in your home, but the wife goes out in the morning. Her husband says, you know, I want to go shopping for the kids for the holidays. And husband says, no problem, spend $500 today. She says, okay. And then he has this wonderful device on his phone that tells him every single time his wife leaves the store. Hi, she just spent $250. Hi, she just spent $300. Hi, she just spent $820. That's when you get on the phone, you're like, what happened? Didn't we save $500? I did the math. $250, $320, $8. That's not $500. And you're frustrated. If this has never happened in your home, raise your hand. If this has never happened in your home, raise your hand. Okay, I got 2, I got 3. I got like 10 people. So this has never happened in your home. Wow, okay, fantastic. Okay. Maybe you're smart, you don't have that text message. Let me tell you what the real frustration was. It was not about money. And the argument, like someone said, was not about children. Here's what it is. Here's the number one thing your spouse wants from you. Close. The number one thing your spouse wants from you is your spouse. Before I said you could answer, now you can't. Your spouse wants to feel understood. And the frustration that a husband has when he said 500 and it turned into 1,200 is you don't understand me. You don't understand how hard it is to earn that money. And the frustration that the wife has is that you don't understand how much our children need clothing. And you don't understand how much it costs. Men are living in the 70s like. They think you could buy a whole wardrobe with $200. Really? He and she are saying the same thing. I need you to get me. I need you to understand me. I need you to feel what I am feeling. You could then explain to me why you needed to spend more, but first feel me, understand me, get what's on my mind, get what I'm worried about. I promised my whole life to spend with you. It's okay if my brother doesn't understand me and my partner doesn't understand me and my friend doesn't understand me. But the person I committed my life to, the one thing I want from you is to be understood. And let me share with you a little story about what it looks like. So, all year round, I'm in Brooklyn. In the summer, I'm in Deal. So, this is the middle of this past summer. My sons came home from out-of-town yeshiva. And I told my family, I said, everyone needs a break. We're going to do an outing tonight on a Sunday night. All the kids are excited. Somehow, my one car turned into like a caravan of other cars. All my married kids followed suit. And we went to wherever the outing was going to be. When we got there, we realized that it wasn't really appropriate for a rabbi's family. So we left. Half hour later, we came back. Still wasn't appropriate for a rabbi's family. I said, okay, we're not doing this. We're going to just go to some takeout store. We'll get some poppers, and we'll bring it home. My 13-year-old daughter, we'll call her Rachel, from the back of the car, like screams to the front. You guys are so frustrating. You're so religious. Why can't we have fun? So we go home, it's Sunday night, and we're eating these, what was supposed to be a fun night is now poppers on the dining room table with my sons who got some kind of firecrackers in the back, so they're blowing up the backyard, and that's the night. Rachel wants to do something at 9:30, a new idea. That doesn't work either. And she throws her hands, she says, I don't know why Hashem doesn't make anything work out for me. Now it's 10:15. She comes, she says to me, Dad, could we go to Urban Pops? Let me tell you what Urban Pops is. Urban Pops is a store here in Deal, also in Brooklyn, that sells very high-end, fancy ice pops. $5, $6 a pop, expensive and unique. She says, Dad, can we go to Urban Pops? I said, you know what? We'll go to Urban Pops. I want to give you something nice tonight. They close at 11. At 10:40, I'm about to leave. I'm like, guys, who wants to come with me? Dad, go by yourself. Like, 1 second. I'm doing this for you, now I'm going alone. Rachel comes over to me as I'm leaving, and she says, Dad, could you get me 2 Urban Pops? Cookies and cream and birthday cake. I said, okay. Now I get to the Urban Pop store, and it's awkward. Like, I'm a rabbi walking into the store. They don't know what to do with me. They put me behind the line, in front of the line, 20% off, 20% more. The whole thing is awkward. And now I get to the front of the line. I call up my wife. I said, honey, what's everyone's order? So this one wants pina colada. The other one wants lemonade. The other one wants the cookies and cream. The other one wants whatever. These s'mores. Good. I get all the ices, put them in a box. I pay, and I awkwardly leave. I come home, I open the box. Each one of my kids comes downstairs to take out their Urban Pop. And I put the cookies and cream in the box for Rachel, and she took her Urban Pop. Half hour later, she comes into my room, and she sits on my bed. She says, Dad, you got me the second Urban Pop, right? I said, let me ask you a question. Who loves you more? Hashem or me? She says, Hashem. I said, who loves you more? Hashem or me? She says, Hashem. So now let me ask you a second question. Did you ever doubt that I got you that second Urban Pop? She says, no, Dad, I never doubted. I said, did you doubt me? Did you doubt me that I got the second Urban Pop? She says, no, Dad, I did not doubt you. I said, did you doubt me? The box was empty. Did you doubt me? She says, Dad, I did not doubt you. I said, well, you were right. Because after everyone took their pop and everyone went upstairs, I went out the back door of our house, around to the front of the house, opened the car door, and in my front seat I had a bag with 1 Urban Pop. I came back in through the back door, went into the laundry room freezer, put it underneath the maza, that's Syrian food. I put it underneath the maza, and it's hidden down there. Your birthday cake, Urban Pop, is downstairs. I said, but here's what I want you to know. Just like you knew that your father, you did never doubted. You knew how much I love you and you never doubted me. Even when the box was empty, you did not doubt me. You need to know Hashem is the same thing. Even when the box looks like it's empty and you have a night that didn't go the way you expect, you need to know Hashem always delivers. Maybe it's the way you expected, maybe it's not the way you expected, but He always delivers. She jumped across the bed and gave me a hug for 5 minutes with tears down her cheeks. I'm a pretty good father, no? Before you get that excited, let me tell you what actually happened. I got every kid in the family 1 Urban Pop. I got her 2. I got me 3. Of course, I said it in a class the next day, on Wednesday, or a few days later. On Thursday, I see 2 boxes of Urban Pops in my kitchen. So my 15-year-old son says, "Dad, what's that? What are those 2 boxes of Urban Pops?" I said, "I guess the owner of Urban Pops probably heard that I said it in a class and wanted to say thank you, so she gave me 2 free boxes of Urban Pops." He says, "Dad, next time could you give a class about schnitzel?" But you know what happened? You know what was incredible about that night? My daughter felt that I understand her. Instead of my reaction being what I wanted it to be, "Why are you questioning Hashem? It's not the biggest deal that we couldn't do this outing. We do things all the time as a family. Why are you so frustrated?" Instead, she felt like I heard her, and she felt understood. And there's nothing more empowering than making someone feel like you understand them. You're not the same as your spouse. There are people out there that are better, that are worse. But that's not so scary. It's only frustrating as long as you're in the candy store. But if you could leave that store and look at your spouse and say, "We are different, and that's what makes us incredible." And look at your spouse and say, "I know you're in a funny mood tonight, and I get it, because I understand what your day was like." Then all of a sudden your home has a magic. All of a sudden your home has the Shekhinah there. All of a sudden your home is elevated. I want to give you a blessing. And the blessing is going to be this last story. There was once a true story. This old man went to the doctor. The doctor said, "You look like you might have fractured a bone." I think the man was in his 92, 93 years old. "Fractured a bone. You're going to have to come in on Monday morning to get it fixed." The old man says, "I can't come in Monday morning." He says, "Why not?" He says, "Because I have an appointment on Monday morning." He says, "You're 93 years old. Like, what kind of appointments do you have?" He says, "I have a meeting on Monday morning, like I do every morning, with my wife." He says, "What do you mean you have a meeting with your wife? You're married to her, right?" "Yes." "So what do you mean by a meeting?" He says, "Well, my wife is in an old age home. So every morning at 9 o'clock, I go and I visit her and I spend time with her. So I can't come to your appointment because I have a prior engagement. I have to go meet my wife." He says, "Wow, your wife's in an old age home? How's she doing?" "She's not well." "How bad?" "She's somewhat senile." He says, "How much?" He says, she doesn't really know what's happening around her. So the doctor says, "So does she recognize you?" The husband says, "No, she doesn't recognize me." So the doctor says, "If she doesn't recognize you, why do you go every day?" He says, "Because she doesn't recognize me, but I recognize her. And every day I go because I know who she is, and she'll always get my respect. Let's make my appointment a different time, because I know she doesn't know who I am, but I know who she is. My blessing to every one of you is that as your marriage goes from 5 years to 10 years to 20 to 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70, every single day of your marriage, you should know and understand who your spouse is. Because a frustrating marriage could be rough. But there's nothing more joyous and nothing more happy and nothing more celebratory, nothing more fun than a good marriage. Not with someone who's just like you, but with someone who's different than you, and someone who you see the differences and you embrace it and you appreciate it and you respect it, and through that you bring God into your home because of it. And when you're able to make each other feel like you communicate, like you listen, like you respect, and therefore you understand, all of a sudden your